Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to another episode of your favorite program, Electoral Reform Digest. With me here is our guest, Mr. Ezenwa Nwagwu, and today we are going to be talking about the appointment of INEC officials, which has been a topic of debate for over a while now across the CSO space. And so the process of appointing the Nigeria's INEC chairman and other officials has long been debated, with concerns over executive influence and electoral integrity. Today we'll be doing a comparative analysis of the current process and the proposed reforms digest suggested by the Justice Uwais Committee. Could the Justice Uwais Committee proposal be the game changer for a truly independent electoral body? And so, sir, I would like to ask you, thank you for your time, sir, today. Could you please walk us through the current process for appointing the INEC chairman and other appointed officials in Nigeria?
Well, I don't think that the conversation is restricted to civil society organization. It's a pan-Nigerian conversation, especially for those who are interested in elections. And also, it's not just the appointment, it's the appointment of the national chairman and the resident electoral commissioner.
Yes, sir.
When we are discussing INEC. Well, first is to say that the Justice Uwais Committee made some significant far-reaching recommendations.
Very true, sir.
For some of the recommendations, they are administrative. And the ones that are administrative, I do know that INEC has implemented almost 90% of those that are administrative.
Very true.
It is actually for the challenge remains the ones that are legislative. So the question you are asking is whether its recommendation for the mode of appointment will be a game changer, and that is to say we are looking at its recommendation that an outside agency like the National Judicial Council should be saddled with that responsibility. At the time it was made, it looked like it was what you call a game changer. But if you have studied the Nigerian political environment, if you have studied the complexion and nature of the Nigerian politician and his penchant for subterfuge, for subverting processes, then you will look at what you have currently and then see what the weakness is and see whether that weakness can't be overcome, and that whether it is also the thing to do to outsource like we are always doing. My experience is that in wanting to solve one problem, we create another one, and then much later we come back to the same problem, the same solution that we always had that we thought was not helpful. So currently, what do we have? We have a situation in which the president nominates. Now, the president nominates an individual as chairman. Now, there are processes. His nominees will be sent to the secret police that we call the DSS. The DSS will profile and provide reports on the individuals that have been nominated. The president, in most cases, will also go to the Council of States. The Council of States comprises of former presidents, the president, the vice president, I think the governors and former Senate president and all of those. Though it's advisory, but my quick sense would be that these are fulfilled people.
Very true.
These are elder statesmen.
Very true.
So they should be able to weigh in, especially if they have the reports that have been provided by the security agencies on those individuals. Then these nominees are then passed to the National Assembly to do their due diligence of oversight through their committees. In the particular cases that you have now, you talk about the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, who will get all of these reports and do their own investigation as well.
Which is now a third leg of investigation.
Which is a third leg of scrutiny and appraisal of those individuals before the president now makes an appointment. Now, the AJC is a collective of former judges, maybe Supreme Court judges, or creation of the Constitution, because it's a commission that appoints, disciplines judges. Now, to saddle, if these layers of scrutiny and appraisal is unable to satisfy the necessity for the constitutional requirements, which is that those who will be appointed must be Nigerians, will be of certain age,
with certain qualifications,
will be of good character, and will not be
biased
members of a political party. That is what the law says to me. If these layers of scrutiny, I do not think that the recommendation of Justice Uwais will necessarily be the game changer.
Now, what people are worried about is the fact that over time they fear that the undue influence of the political class based on that appointment affects the implementation of the operationalities of INEC. How then do you think that if abiding by this process, it would be better and then be a bit more accountable so that Nigerians can then regain their confidence in the electoral institution?
The NJC didn't fall from the sky. They were also appointees. They are debtors. They owe people who appointed them also.
And the government institutions.
And they are also government. So the challenge is our not understanding that people have responsibility, and that when they shirk that responsibility, there's a consequence. So, well-respected platforms like the Council of States should be able to advise the president properly. The National Assembly, if it does its work properly, should be able to screen out. But the challenge is that because you are dealing with politicians, naturally they are always given to undue advantage. They like to take undue advantage. So, take for instance, the last appointments of resident electors across board, civil society organizations made, wrote petitions, wrote letters to the National Assembly, indeed with pictures of some of the appointees who were card-carrying members of a political party.
Yeah.
But the National Assembly said, the guys did not come by way of affidavit. You didn't support your petition with affidavit. But it's not the responsibility of civil society to carry out investigation. That is why that committee exists, to ensure that due diligence
is done
and proper scrutiny is carried out. So the support that the civil society and media gives is complementary. So when they shirk the responsibility, and the reason they shirk the responsibility is because they all do hope that they can benefit from the disabilities that occur through those appointments of non-partisan people whose character cannot be vouched for. So it is about you put a fit and proper person, the person will be unlikely to. But that's not to say that all the appointments that have been made are not fit and proper.
Sure.
We can't, that's not to say so.
Not at all.
Because there was a time almost 10 people who have civil society background were in INEC. And that was between 2015 and 2019.
Yeah.
Professor Jega was also a product of the same system of appointment. So it has more to do with people's attitude, whether they are from the agency or from advertised. People who, private sector people are in jail for stealing bank depositors' money all over the place.
True.
So that's private sector.
Very true.
They went through the so-called private sector scrutiny.
True.
So that's not the point. The point will have to be how professional, what character, what is the nature, what is the background, what is the value system that we put into our leadership recruitment processes. And that for me is the key. So the itchy way in which we are always wanting to try new things is good. But what has always happened is that we go to those new things that we want, and then we eventually, many years later, we start celebrating what we left behind.
Very true. Thank you very much for that, sir. And it shows how much we need to also put more focus on the competence and the capacity of the people who are going to be appointed, rather than changing the process completely. And so, sir, lastly, what is your advice to make the process a bit more accountable and much more transparent, such that it can then give the value for which it was even established in the first place?
Well, the first thing is also to follow progress that is being made.
Yeah.
Many times, because of, in quotes, ignorance of what has changed, many people still continue to view those institutions with the lenses of the past. We also will have to be inclined to following what progress are we making and accepting that progress. We are naturally people who, because of where we're coming from, to accept progress is not what we are not quick to accept progress or agree that progress has been made. It is only in the future that we agree that the past was better, which is not true.
Sure.
When we come to that future, we now start talking about what we condemned in the past as being the best.
Very true.
And that for me is the huge challenge. So it's also important that we are open and interested enough to see where progress has been made, where there is need for improvement, and what we need to completely do away with.
Thank you very much. It's been your favorite program, Electoral Reform Digest, today, and we've heard enough and comprehensive detail from the Executive Director, Ezenwa Nwagwu, today. And so keep up with our programs on YouTube as well as on social media, and follow our subsequent editions of this program. The next time we're going to be having a different topic to talk about. And so for today, this is going to be a wrap for today. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to seeing you in our next edition.